grandmas for free housing or be a leech onto somebody. So it was a really fun time. But anyways, I met, and he said, hey, stick around and you can hit with this guy, you know, want my guy, and until you go on to the next stop, and I think it was Austin, Texas or something. And so that I did that, and then we split ways, and he said, hey, if you ever, whenever you're done playing, if you want to coach, just call me at my academy in Florida, and you can be a coach. I was like, well, I got that going for me. Let's stick that in my back pocket. So like a week later, I'm called. I was like, yeah, my name's Sid. Nick said I could have a job. I'm like, who are you? What are you talking about? He's like at the French Open or something. So I was like, you know, around and around, someone got a hold of it. So that's where I started coaching. And it was just a year out of graduating college. And I worked 7 great years. Most of that time I lived in Europe, being a tour coach for all the young pros that would come and do the satellites over there. And then along the way, I got married, and then eventually my oldest son was born in just outside London, England, and then I had to go on the road. And I was sitting in a hotel the first night. I'm like, no, this is not gonna work. Either I'm gonna be a dad or I'm gonna be a traveling tennis coach. So I moved back to the States, got a job, and they said, hey, we're gonna hire you as our tennis pro. You know, the second there was a tennis director, I was gonna be whatever. And I knew about coaching, you know, I knew about coaching that high level. I didn't really know about teaching or anything. So they said, you need to be USPTA certified. I was like, okay. So I flew from San Francisco to LA, and I sat in a room just like you. And it was about the same size. There was a couple of females, but it was about the same size group. And it was 2 days, just like you're doing. And what I immediately found out was a couple things. I wasn't near as good as what I thought I was. One, and that there's a lot I can learn about coaching and teaching tennis. And I had a great experience, and that was 20 years ago. So that was my start of the USPTA journey. I did it because I was told you had to for this job, and it was just a super experience. I learned a ton. You know, I was a little nervous about having to do the lessons and stuff, but this old guy that was, you know, helping us through it, he made me comfortable, and just a great experience. Now I realize I'm that old guy, and you guys are the, yeah, so that's about it. The best part about me, my family, my wife, she played tennis at Villanova. She's a good tennis player. Doesn't play hardly at all. Because why? Because we have 5 kids. 3 are kind of out of the house. One's married. One's a tennis pro in LA. And my daughter is 14, wants nothing to do with tennis because we're always about tennis. The whole family's tennis. So she plays soccer. And my youngest is 11, and she just wants to ride a horse. So she rides horses. But the other 3 boys, they're all tennis players. And one's making a professional. So that's me in a nutshell, and that's the USPTA journey that I'm on. Worked 20 years in the industry at a private club. So I had the 7 years of tour coaching with Voluntaries, 20 years in the private club, the private sector in Northern California. Then this job came up to be, and during those 20 years, I kind of got involved in the USPTA and the leadership. Now I became a tester for Northern California, and then this job came up to oversee testing across the whole U.S. Threw my name in a hat and ended up moving to Florida to take this job as the national head tester. That's condensed version. So that's me. And what I like to do is get to know each other. You don't have to be that long-winded. Sorry for that long-winded. So just tell us your name, where you're from, where you're from, a little bit about your tennis background. I played in high school. I played top 10 in the world. We don't care. Just a little bit about your tennis background. Anybody here top 10 in the world? I probably recognize you. Tennis background, and then what you're doing in the industry now. I teach part-time, I'm involved in a nonprofit, I want to teach, I'm looking for a job, I've been teaching for 30 years and never got certified. You'll see all kinds of stuff. And then the last one is why you're in the room now. Why are you at this point in your journey looking to receive the USPTA certification? Let's start. Mr. Belgium.
Exactly. I'm Andreas Bergen, working for Luxembourg. I'm the Global Product Marketing Manager. Located in Belgium, traveling around 20-25 weeks a year for Luxembourg, which is, I consider not anymore as a job, but as a privilege to do working in the industry. Background was that when I was young, I was playing tennis in my life. watching all the Grand Slams, and then I also did my master degree because of watching Roger online. But then I started teaching up to 30, 40 hours a week in Belgium. I have a master degree in chemical engineering, totally something different, but then it's like, listen, stop working in corporate things. I want to stop doing and do my passion. And I'm since 1 year in Luxembourg, and it's been the best choice ever in my life. Why I'm here today is that we were discussing, like, okay, we see so many coaches. It's the whole setup in the US is different than in Europe, and I do also Asia. I'm like, I want to understand it better. Why not also follow the course? That I have a much better understanding what everybody is going through. Following some courses already, and I also want to learn. I'm addicted to learn all stuff in tennis, and it's coming from everything. So that's one thing.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
I'm Dane Paulson. I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Just moved to Phoenix the day before I left for this conference, so new there. I played in juniors and just graduated and played in college. So now I'm just kind of like looking around. I'm hoping to do some part-time teaching tennis in Phoenix, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah.
Thank you, Dane. Yes,
All
sir.
right. I'm Jim Swansier. I've been at Castlewood Country Club as the director of tennis for 9 years. I'm kind of one of the stories he said. I've been teaching for 26 years, kind of all the way from assistant, head pro to director. Never was required to have PTA insurance, certification, just kind of got the jobs based on knowing people and kind of stayed in the same general area. And I played a couple years of junior college tennis, still play actively 5-0. And I was a NorCal sales rep for Pro Kinetics Rackets. I did Studio Bikini clothing, Lotto clothing for about 3 years. That was pretty cool. It's a good job to travel. So you have a family, and so I have kids that are 12 and 14, 2 girls. They're playing tennis, so pretty busy coaching that. That's it.
Thank you, Jim.
Hi, my name is Dario. I'm from Cuba. I live here. I've been here for 3 years in the United States. So I live here in Vegas, and I was a player, maybe junior. I don't know. It's like a Team Cuba in junior. So that's it. I studied information science in Cuba, and so now I'm here. So ready for coaching.
Are you looking for a job here, or are you already coaching, or?
I already coach like freelance or some stuff.
Oh, okay.
It's like a part time.
And so why about the certification? Why USPTA? Why now?
Certification about because just to get a better opportunity at the jobs.
Okay. Cedric?
I'm Cedric Abalos. I've been here since 1980. I'm just a recreational player, and I happen to play with this club, and they started teaching us how to be a professional tennis pro. So I took my exam 5 years ago, some time ago. I never taught tennis, but I play a lot, and my team actually went to the 2013 3.5 18 and over. We were like finalists at national, but I was the oldest in the team. So, but we all got, the trophy. I think your team in San Francisco is the only team that beat us 2-3, but we got second place 2 times, and I've been attending World Conference and Regional Conference. This is my fourth World Conference that I attended, and I was fortunate enough to meet Sid, and I told him, hey Sid, I've been attending, this is my fourth World Conference that I have attended. I learned a lot of knowledge and all that, but I don't have any experience, teaching, and I failed my private lesson and group lesson. I retook my exam like a couple of years, or 3-4 years ago, with our new president, Faisal, and I failed. I didn't even look at the previous thing that I failed, because I was working 2-3 jobs as a medical technologist, I was a lab operation manager. So I've been working for almost 38 years in the lab, so no background teaching at all. So that's why I have a difficulty teaching, the practical or something. So he was gracious enough to invite me to this class.
Are you in the DC area?
Northern Virginia, yeah,
Northern Virginia.
Mid-Atlantic.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Josh. I hail from New York City originally, Brooklyn. So my background when it comes to tennis dealt with small group lessons as a kid. My father taught me how to play a little bit, and then it came to a point where he could only go so far with me. He started putting me in group lessons, and I grew that way. So I'm a very young child. I did USTA junior tournaments, and then when I finally got to high school, I did high school tournaments. But when I went to college, there was no tennis. So tennis was totally off the table. So many years later, here I am this year in 2019. I walked by a tennis store on Park Avenue, and it says, come in, hit rackets, whatever. I said, Jesus Christ, I haven't seen a tennis racket in so long. Let me go in. The guy hands me this racket. I say, okay, now I need to find people to play. So I'll look up Brooklyn Tennis, right? And they have a Net Generation USTA teaching kids, nonprofit organization. They need volunteers. So I started doing that, and now I've inquired, and I came across this. After the US Open, I was working at the US Open, I saw Todd Martin. I asked him, any tips on teaching tennis? He talks about USPTA and PTR. I said, oh, okay, thanks a lot, Todd. Like we were best friends or something. And now I'm here.
Cool. Thank you. Yes, sir.
My name is Jason. I'm from Eugene, Oregon, so just a little up north there. I work in a club, Eugene Swim and Tennis Club, one of the biggest up that way. I've actually worked there for probably about 9 years and only been teaching for a handful of those, maybe like 3 or 4, part-time mostly, because I work there, I do all the racket stringing. So I've been in the tennis industry for a bit. As a player, a little later. I've only been playing like pretty competitively for about 5 or 6 years. But I've been teaching mostly 10 and under, so I love teaching kids in that program. I love the way it's structured, and then we also use that as a kickstart program for adults too. We run them through, so basically take them from not even knowing how to hold a racket to being comfortable with all the different strokes, nothing crazy, but being able to get on the court using each different type of ball like you would a kiddo. And so that's a lot of fun.
Good. Thank you, sir. Perfect.
I'm Dylan McNamara. I'm actually from here. I own McNamara Tennis Academy with my dad. My dad was like 200 in the world, so I was kind of brought up playing tennis, but didn't really love it. I was the #1 hockey player in the country for much of my life, and I even captained the U.S. Junior Olympic team, and got burned out and started playing tennis full time, became a national player, ITF player, like you, and started playing some pro tournaments and realized this ain't the juniors anymore, and decided to go to college and start teaching. And my first lesson was like, hey, love your work ethic. When you're done with college, you're gonna come work for my business. That was the plan the whole time. And 3 days into a 9-to-5 job, I said, I'm never coming back. You don't have to pay me. Thanks for the opportunity. And started teaching tennis ever since. Now my dad actually quit his job and he's working with me full time. And I guess the reason I'm here and I put it off so long is I never had anyone call me and ask if I was USPTA certified for a lesson. And then I saw Hassan and he goes, hey, we're changing the rules next year. It's gonna get a lot harder to get. Come get your USPTA. So, and hopefully wanna expand and buy some land and put our own facility. So I figured
Good plan.
it's a good, close to it.
All right, so cool. Look, this is what we look like as an association. Except we have 21% female. So, but this group looks the same, except we don't have 2 girls, 2 ladies. Sorry. We're diverse. We have every ethnicity. We have different countries, different backgrounds, different reasons, different goals. You know, as far as tennis, part-time, full-time career. But we share at least one thing, right? What is that? Yeah, there's a love and passion for coaching and teaching tennis. And that's what draws 14,000 people into this trade association. We're a trade association. And that's a cool thing because, and this is just a side note, I have so much fun at these conferences, even though I'm working like 18-hour days, is that when I go sit down and have beer with people, I don't know them from Adam. And we have a lot of stuff that probably divides us, right? Or whatever, political views, religion, whatever can divide humanity is in our trade association. But we have this thing in common where it makes it easy even to talk about the differences because we know we share this one thing, you know, that we love coaching and teaching tennis. And so it's a really cool thing to be a part of this association. Who's here at the conference? I know you are, I know Cedric is, a lot of you, yeah. And so this is our big annual conference. It's once a year. We have about 1,000 pros here at this conference. It's just been, you guys enjoyed it? There's a ton of energy and fun. The trade show is unbelievable. You know, anyways, there's a bunch that goes on. But this is how we do face-to-face education. Because we're all about, if you get anything from me over the next day and a half, is that our association is a bunch of people that come together and try to learn and get better. Whatever you're old like me, young like some of you, you know, it's just to get better. Whether you're a recreational coach like Cedric that's thinking about what's next, or a career guy like me, I'm trying to learn something. I'm here at the conference trying to learn something. I'm trying to learn philosophical things. I'm trying to learn technical things, tactical things, anything. And I'm trying to learn from you guys. And that's our DNA. We can make each other better as pros if we have that right attitude. The attitude is that we're never gonna arrive. The only sucky pros are the ones that are so cocky that think, I don't need anything. I got it. It's all about me. You know? I'm like, yeah, but dude, you should see how, you young guys don't even know. When I played tennis at a high level, it looked like this. Woo-hoo, you know? You know, if someone told me that it would look like this, I'd be like, what are you talking about? You know? And it just keeps changing, right? And the technology is unbelievable. And it's, who knows what's gonna look 10 years from now? So if we wanna be in it, we gotta be in it. And we gotta keep staying up with it, learning. It's really exciting. I mean, Stacked, I don't think accounting really changes that much, right? I mean, maybe the technology of the machines, but basically it's gotta add up at the end. I mean, I was like, wow, geez, like chemical engineering probably changes a lot. But, I mean, some of you already said that. I tried this job. You're like, man, I wanna be outside, I wanna be with people. I wanna be with kids, I wanna be with adults that appreciate what I can offer them. I mean, I just get so stoked teaching tennis, you guys. I could go forever about that. But let's talk about the USTA. Should I use this board? So, 14,000, approximately 14,000 people. The way our certification is broken up is that you're either an applicant, most of you, and then you take the certification exam, or you come directly in as, I just want to be a recreational coach, and that's a non-certified category, where you get some benefits. Attend conferences, you have you can purchase liability insurance, you can help out with net gym programs, red, orange, green. So this is there's a lot of people that are rec coaches. Then we have this huge category, and this is what you guys are all in the room for: certified professional. All right, and this is where you have to get evaluated. So this is what you're here for. You're like, I gotta go through the evaluation process, and if I pass all 5 of the evaluation process and a couple of prerequisites that we'll talk about, then I'm a certified pro. 10,000 of the 14,000. And then there's another category called Elite Pro, and that is geared toward if you want to be a tennis director, a manager. You start moving from the grinding hours to now, hey, you've been on the court for 30 hours and the head pro is retiring or moving, and the club manager says, would you consider being the head pro? What does that mean? Well, you're going to teach less, you're still going to teach. You're very involved in the program, but you're also going to manage. You're going to start writing lesson plans for other pros. You maybe be in charge of the pro shop, maybe court management. You know, so the education and the testing that requires to be elite pro is It's like courses like basic accounting, pro shop management, personnel management. So it's like kind of moving toward off court. On and off court. So you're testing into here. This is where you guys want to end up at. And if you don't, it's okay, because what are we really all about? Testing? What are we really all about as an association? I just told you like 5 minutes ago. Education, getting better, right? That's what we're really all about. So it doesn't matter if you're here, or a rec coach, or here, or whatever, you're still all about getting better. But you guys are all like, well, just get me here. Shut up about getting better. I'm not here for this. All right, so why? What are some benefits of the USPTA? What do you guys know about it? Shout them out. Insurance. Liability insurance is huge. So if you're on your own, you're starting an academy, you're working in Parks and Rec, if you're a US member, not our man Dane here, not Dane, Dane is there, right?
Yeah.
Andreas, he's an international member, so they don't care in Belgium about US liability insurance, but anywhere in the US, $12 million policy pretty much covers everything you need. If you're looking for a job, like some of you said, yeah, I'm USPTA certified, especially if there's a job opening in a you know, like a HOA or Parks and Rec or something that doesn't have then you say I'm USPTA certified, I have my liability insurance, here's my certificate. Man, you just jumped ahead of the pile. Because some of those people don't even know about the liability insurance. They're like, ooh, I better think about that. And then, so that's a huge benefit. What else? Benefits of being a USPTA member.
Show up in the search for.
What's that?
Show up in the directory for.
That's right. So on our website, we have a bunch of resources online. And if someone's looking for a tennis director, uses a lot, USPTA members here, you can find a pro, and you can find a job. Those are two searches. It's a big, the database. All of you will be listed on it, where you live, unless you opt out of it. And then you can type in, hey, shoot, my girlfriend moved to Malibu. I got to look in the LA area. You can put a radius of 10 miles, 20 miles, 50 miles. And it lists all the jobs that are open. They'll say what qualified, USPTA certified only, USPTA Elite Pro certified only. It'll have the qualifications. It's a great resource for both finding pros. For 20 years, I was in Northern California. Every time I needed a full-time pro, which is like 4 times in 20 years, I'd post it on there and get a bunch of people apply. And they're all certified USPTA pros. And that was one of the criteria to be a member of that. That's what it told me. Okay, what other benefits? So we got find a pro, find a job. So mention online resources. So right now, with your member number, you put your last name, member number, you already have free access to what's called Tennis Resources. It's an online library of a ton of stuff. So a lot of the content's free, like tips, lesson plans. You can just type in the search bar backhand volley, and you can watch a 30-second tip, or you can watch an hour breakdown of the biomechanics and all this stuff that goes way over my head. Yeah.
Okay, quick question. Will our USTA number differ from our?
Yes, your USPTA number is different than your USTA number.
So we'll get a separate number after.
You already have one.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, as soon as you apply, you were assigned a USPTA number. So you'll get it. So everything's with your last name and your USPTA number. So you already have one. If you applied, you're in the database. So those online resources are huge. They're even as simple as printing a round robin. I use it a lot. So I have a tennis group, and they're like, okay, we have 11 people showing up for a round robin. So I don't flip through a book like I used to in the old day. I just go to my website and I put 11 people round robin, 3 courts, and 3 hours, and it just spits it all out. And it's like, oh, that's good. I don't have to do that old school anymore. So it's got resources on how to, compass draws, single elimination, any draw you want, it's on there as a resource. So the online is a big one. What else? What other you might know about? Benefits of being a USPTA member. Come on, there's lots of them. Networking is huge. This is huge. Just like, I'm telling you, when I was younger, and I was a young pro and I had kids and diapers, it was so costly for me to go to a conference. Why costly? Well, it cost a couple $100. And then if I had to travel, that cost. If I had to stay in a hotel, that cost. And I had to also leave my club, and I'm getting paid by the hour. So it's a huge cost. But if I could tell any of you anything, the benefit of knowing people in the association far outweighs the cost, the tangible cost at the moment. So you got to figure out a way to get involved and to network and to meet people. and they come in and the jobs and the opportunities come from this. It doesn't come from online applications, to tell you the truth, right? It's like you gotta know somebody. Jim said every job, he just knew people, and that's how you get jobs. And the network opportunity within the association is really big, and good kind of networking, not like ass kissing or anything, just fun, like meet people that want to know who you are. But tennis people we're just fun people, right? We're involved around the greatest sport in the world, and we like hanging out with people. So networking is huge. What other benefits? Let's keep going. Come on, man, something tangible.
I think it's education.
Education, right. So education's huge, and that's what we're all about. So we offer it in two ways. One is we offer face-to-face education through conferences. Yearly national conferences is our world conference, once a year in the fall. It usually alternates East Coast, West Coast. Last year was in New York City at the US Open. We all got free passes, credentials, bus rides from the hotel. It was really cool. And we had a great time at the US Open. That was one of the days of education, was just go watch tennis. Wasn't that fun? And then this year's here, and then next year, New Orleans. And what a great city. So it's usually at a cool city, and I went every year. For 20 years I was a tennis director, I wrote it in my contract. I said, what's my budget for continuing education? And I made sure it covered my trip to the World Conference. And you get your continuing education credits, which we can talk about if you don't know about those. And also you get to network and learn and then the other way we do education is in your division. So you guys are in Intermountain if you live here in Vegas. You have a division conference every year. And it's sort of like this, but smaller, just for your divisional people. They fly in speakers, it's great. It's cheaper, it's more regionally located. They usually use local people to be speakers. So they might say, hey, McNamara Tennis Academy, can you do a 1 hour education on what it takes to start an academy from the grassroots? Maybe this is 5 years from now. And then he's happy to share his knowledge because he's trying to grow the game and he loves the association, right? I'm just predicting your future. and so so it uses kind of local people, and also they'll probably bring in like a big keynote person, like they'll fly in somebody and spend their money on one big keynote, well-known person. Or Gil Reyes was at the Intermountain one. He's been at Denver for the last couple of years, and Gil Reyes is such a passionate guy. It was great to hear him. He was here too. And then also most divisions have, throughout the year, they have face-to-face education called RED Days, Regional Education Days. And you can host them at your club. You can there's a bunch of them here in Vegas, and they're just like a day long. They're usually like an excuse to get together, network, and party. But they combine it with maybe 2 hours or 3 afternoons of somebody presenting, and then you get like free beer and stuff, and see the local pros. So those are really fun to get involved in. So I would encourage you on your local level to get involved in the USPTA. It's all volunteer driven. Okay? Some other benefits that you didn't mention, which you should, there's Wilson, #1 in tennis, so we have sponsorships. Luxilon Streams, thank you very much, great to have a partner. So this is huge. You get either free products, severely or drastically discounted products just for being a member. Nike Fromos, they have their own website for us. You log in, fromos/uspta.com, put your member number in, populates retail price, and then the Fromo, and it's all Nike stuff. And you don't have to put the logo on it. You can just get anything Nike. What a great benefit. Seriously, the closeout benefits, $30. $30 for these shoes. That's a good benefit, right? These are like, a year ago, these were $90. These are not the most expensive shoes. But if you're cheap like me, I can wait a year to spend $60 instead of $120. Now my kids are like, no, I gotta have that now. No patience. So there's a lot of tangible benefits if you want to buy any kind of tennis equipment. If you run a facility, you're starting something, we got manufacturers, we got windscreens that way discounted off of retail prices. Our ball, the Wilson ball, is made just for USPTA. It's got USPTA on the logo. You'll use it today when we're on the court. It's a good ball. It's a little softer than the US Open, and that makes it a little more durable. So it's a great teaching ball, but it plays well. I mean, I play with it all the time. It's the one ball I use it. I like the US Open ball best when I'm playing, but I have no issues using it. Way better than the pen balls, I'll tell you that. Okay. So there's a bunch of indoorsy type stuff. We got the ball mowers and baskets, from Hogue, and all those are listed on our website. We have a new search engine for medical insurance. So you'll call this number and they'll actually pick up the phone, USPTA insurance, can I help you? And they're not an insurance company, but they'll where are you from, what's your zip code, and they'll help find you a medical insurance, because it's such a mess trying to navigate it. So, we have so many teaching pros that don't have medical insurance because they don't work full-time at a club. So they're independent contractors, and that just helps you navigate that maze, and they understand the tennis people. They've all these meetings with the smart people that run the association, figure out what are the needs of tennis pros. And so that's a great benefit. My son's gonna use that because he just turned 26, and that's really when you become an adult, by the way. Because when you turn 26, you can no longer be on your parents' insurance. Old graduating college, all that, what, 26, yeah, you go. Okay, so lots and lots of benefits of being a member, and that's, one thing is the more you put into it volunteer-wise, the more you get out of it. So volunteer means volunteering your time. I just budgeted it. I would say I'm gonna give a conference a year and then 2 days of time. That was my when I was working all the time, and that was enough. And it's like, then I'm proactive about it, and I budget how much money it's gonna cost me financially. And then my young pros coming in that I hire, I say, you negotiate this in your contract. This is how many days I need that aren't vacation days, so that I can continue the education. This is how much money I need. I want you to pay for half of my conference or half of my flight. And to be honest with you, general managers love that. If you're at a private club or anything where the budgets are big, they would much rather you be interested in $1,000 of continuing education in your budget than asking for $1,000, more of what the salary package is. Because then it's like, wow, this person's serious. They want to keep getting better. So it's a benefit to negotiate that in your contract if you're working in that industry. Questions so far about benefits? Okay, so let's go to how are we organized? This is important stuff. Should I flip this over here? This is usually on a PowerPoint, but I want to pack our pod up because we're moving. A lot of people are leaving tomorrow, so that's like, I'll just take the screens and all that. I use old school. I'm old school, right? So we're in 17 divisions, just like the USTA. So the USPTA is in 17 divisions. What do I mean by that? Like NorCal, that's where I came from. That's its own USPTA division. Intermountain, that's where you guys are now. Eastern, so not Josh.
Yes, it is.
Huh?
Yes.
Yes, Josh, got it right. Josh, he's in the Eastern Division. Any other divisions represented? Pacific Northwest, baby. Whatever else?
Mid-Atlantic.
Oh my gosh, we have nobody here from Mid-Atlantic. Maybe 2 people from Mid-Atlantic. Who's the other one?
Southwest.
Southwest, that's right. I'll just put SW. Florida, I'm in Florida Division now. So I could take that up. So just in this room, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the 17. International is its own division, you're right. It doesn't have, no, it's true, we have our own division called International. Now, our international members, they pay, their annual dues are half of ours. So we pay $300 a year to stay an active member. The international members only pay $150. Why do you think that is?
They will use it as much.
They don't have the benefits. We don't have conferences in Belgium. We don't have online resources in any other language but English, which is okay for you if you have access to it. We don't have liability insurance, so that's a big chunk of your change that you pay. If you went if you're an independent contractor and you say, okay, I gotta get this job, it's a beautiful park and rec, actually I'm gonna manage 4 park and recs in my, if you shop for a liability insurance on your own, astronomical. It's way more than your $300 dues. And that's what's such a huge benefit, because there's so many of us, obviously we lower the premium, but that's a big chunk of your dues goes to insurance, and we can't offer that to international.
I pay $700 a year.
$700 a year, so now you don't have to, he's already paid double. So just by being a USPTA member, you just cut that in half. Isn't that great?
Yep.
You can just, you're like, yeah, this is the best decision I made in at least a week.
It was like 500 and then 200 at each employee.
Yeah, all right, yeah. So we have all that as well. We have additional employee insurance, we have additional facility insurance, we have what's called SAM insurance, which is $30 for additional, some states require sexual abuse and molestation, they require like an extra insurance. So, okay, so that's how we're organized. And East, yes, sir.
Did you say of those 17 are in the US, so that's really an 18th the international?
Yep, and then we have Japan has its own, Japan youth, and then we have, Caribbean has its own. So actually we have 17, 18, 19, I don't even know. They're talking about forming it, we have a lot of international members, that want to be part of the USPTA, but they don't have their division, so we just lump them in international. But then we have so many, we just did 250 people took the certification exam in China, and we have about 1,000 people that have taken the certification exam in China. They could be their own division, we don't have anybody there to lead it, to do ad conferences, to negotiate Wilson product. So, you know, Andreas isn't gonna he's gonna get some free Luxon string if he wants, because he probably knows somebody. But he doesn't have a contract with Wilson, you know, like we do, because it's a separate deal. But if you have someone on the ground that can form an organization, then they would get our support to help them do that. Good question. Okay, so
It's good for China for me, so.
yeah, good.
So
Yeah, good. Yeah, we're working on that, dude. So within the division, you have your own board of directors. You have a president, a vice president, and it's all volunteer led. Our president in Intermountain is also one of the testers, and I'll explain that later. And he's coming in here. He's in the seminar over there right now. So you'll meet him, and he can tell you a little bit about how the division. It's all volunteer. And then out of the 17 divisions, the president and the first vice president are a part of the executive committee that runs the national organization. So there's 34 people, and then on that executive committee, and then they nominate a board of directors. And they're also volunteer people. And they are the people that direct the whole association between the executive committee meetings. So what does that mean? Hi Ginger, come on in. How'd you do? You have a good match?
Yeah.
This is Ginger Phillips, she's
Hi,
also
guys.
from Intermountain.
Hi.
Oh,
It's a bunch of guys.
I know, you know, I always say, this looks just exactly like our association, except we don't have any females in it, but now we do. So I'll introduce Ginger, because we're in the middle of something.
Sorry.
So Ginger is, she's one of on our testing team, and we're gonna talk about that in a minute. She's based somewhere around Denver, and she's here for the World Conference, and she just played in the tournament, apparently she won, so good for her. And so she's hanging out with us today. Thank you.
Hi,
Ginger.
guys.
And you guys can introduce yourself when we take a bathroom break in a minute.
Sorry to interrupt.
No worries, I'm glad you're here. So where were we? Division, how it's laid out, what are we left like talking about? Oh, so the board of directors is also volunteer based, and they call the shots. They run the association between executive committees. So what does that mean? What does this association mean in terms of government? What do you think is some assets of that type of government? We have all volunteers on the board of directors, and then 34 people in the executive committee, and they meet 4 times a year. And then you have 21 people on the national staff that carry out all the work. Give me some ideas. Who's running businesses or thought about it? 20. So you have a national staff. Yeah, go ahead.
It's almost like a corporate where there's no one saying everything.
That's right. There's nobody like the Ayatollah Khomeini.
There's no king.
That's right. There's no king. It's very, very democratic, and so that's good and bad. So what could be the bad about that?
we don't make decisions.
Yeah, it takes a while. It takes a while, and you got to get a lot of input, right? So it could. But what's good about that?
You're making sure it's the right way.
Yeah, everybody has input. I mean, you can sit on your board of directors. I mean, they need people to volunteer. They need people to be on your district boards, and so you can get involved and you can have a say. And also, it's tennis pros running the association. So you want to get a hold of your district, your sectional president in Intermountain, you just call him up on the phone. It's gonna be, hi, this is Hassan. I'm on the court right now giving a lesson. Leave your name and number. I'll call you back. He's just like us, right? And so he has the best interest because he knows what you're doing, because they're teaching pros, and they have the same passion. That's where they joined just like you. They went through this process just like you. That's what's cool about it. But it is pretty slow moving, and it can be very political. Probably just stay right up there. Now, all right. So that's enough about that. Let's see. So let's talk about within the divisions. We have other roles, and one of the roles is that we're called testers. Now, we're not. What's the main thing the association about? I told you that 20 minutes ago. Education, right? Getting better, right? We're all about getting better. So we're not really all about testing. That's just sort of we need honest evaluation, just like Cedric said. He got honest evaluation when he did his thing years ago, and he realized I never really taught a lot. So I'm all about getting better. I go to conferences and learn. But we do have a team of people, so each division has a head tester, and they oversee how many testers in division. Now, Intermountain's quite spread out, so they have to cover a lot of ground. Some of the divisions, Eastern and New England, they're pretty small, so you can just have sort of like everybody go to the Billie Jean King National Tennis Center, and once a year we'll do upstate New York. And so these certification experiences are all over the place. You find one local to you, except in Belgium. Okay, and so the seventh.
More than enough in the US to find.
Yeah, there you go. You can always see it. So each division has a head tester, and then they have a team of testers. I think there's 83 total in the US. All right, enough about that. Look at this. This is so fun. This is like PowerPoint old school. Next slide. Testers, how we're run. Okay, so what you have to do, you remember you're here in this room, and your goal is to, at some point, whether it be at the end of tomorrow, or if you have to work harder to get at it at some other point, to be into this, what we call the biggest bucket of all of the 14,000 people is certified professional. Okay, so what do you have to do that? Well, first of all, you have to apply. You've already done that. What happened after you applied? What did the email ask you to do?
You did an online course.
Online course, good. Which ones? What was it called?
I've done so many.
You've done so many.
I don't remember.
So there's a few of them. So you have to do a series of
Play
courses.
safe maybe, or?
Oh yeah, that's right. So here's the courses you have to take are Coach Youth Tennis. Okay, this is a total of 7 courses. This has been assigned to you. It's in your email. All right, and everybody's like, I never got this. Like, yes, you did. It's automatic. There's no way you didn't get it. Now, whether you deleted it or you put a wrong email address or it went to spam, but it did get sent to you because it's done by the database. So
Is that the one on that generation?
yes. So this is 7 courses, and it's geared for youth tennis, red, orange, and green. It's really good content. So even if you teach adults, there's some applicable stuff. And the first 6 are pretty brief, 30 to 45 minutes. They're not tested. They have little quizzes, but you just go through them. And then the 7th one takes a little longer. It's more like a workshop, all right? And you have to complete this before you receive certification. And let me tell you something. We don't have a system to track where you are, whether you've done it or not. So who's this on? Who's the onus on to complete this?
Us.
Yeah, you guys, not me. I wish it was, but we don't have that. We're trying to work toward a system that will ping someone in our office to say, hey, get a hold of Dylan. It's been 6 months and he's done 6 of the 7 of these. But we don't have that. It's on you. You got to finish it. You can always call. We can look you up, but it's just not manageable to keep track of everybody's. All right. So that's one online component is the Coach Youth Tennis. The other one is the Safe Play. Who's done that? Anyone? 2? All right. 3. You have to do this to receive certification. It's a course, and then it's a waiver. There's 3 parts to it. You have to take a Safe Play course, you have to check a waiver, and then you have to get a background check. And it's all done in that Safe Play thing right there. All right? And it's all, once again, your initial email. It's a link there. If you can't find it, it's not that you didn't receive it. It's just that maybe it went somewhere else. You just got to call the office. All right, that's what our membership team there is to help you get through this process. So Coach Youth Tennis, Safe Play, those are the requisites. They're not prerequisites because you could do it after the on-court stuff, but you have to do it. Who's going to track whether you've done this or not? Yeah, I just say that. I'm going to say that a bunch of times because I want you guys to see that. All right. Okay, now here's the evaluative components. This is the part where you have to pass at a threshold to receive your certification. There's 2 components online. This is the online written test. All right, and we're going to review that. But you have to pass this at a 75% or greater. It's just pass fail. Doesn't matter if you get 98% or 75%. You just got to get through that. All right, and we'll talk specifically about that in a little bit. That's a 5. All right, and then there is the online grip exam. assigned to you in our learning module system called NoBase on your initial email. All right, you got to take that and you have to pass it. Doesn't matter if you get them all right, but you just have to pass it. Okay? So those are both online. Okay, who's going to track whether you've done these 2 tests online? Me, I am. Not. Can't. Don't know how to do it. You guys have to track it. Right? You guys have to. If you didn't find an email, you don't know where the link is, what are you going to do? You're going to call. You can call the 800 number. You can say, hey, I can't find the link to the online grip exam. And they'll be like super nice and sweet. I'll be like, bozo. They always say, no one sent me the exam. I'm done. It's been sent to you. It's automatically sent when you register. Yes, sir.
So for the 2 online exams, if you've done them, but those send the results into the USPTA?
Yep, but you won't get any results until everything is completed. All right, and that's another thing is, 8 months from now, one of you is going to call the office and say, hey, I was in Vegas and this old dude named Sid gave me the exam and then I'm so disappointed because I did it 8 months ago and no one told me what I got. What happened? And then what inevitably happened is one of these things are not complete. And they'll look you up and they'll say, they're super nice, way nicer. And you're like, oh yes, Dylan, I'm sorry, you've done 6 of the 7 Coach Use Tennis. Everything else is completed. And I wish we had a system, and we're working toward a system that will generate some sort of pings automatically. But right now we don't. It's not in our technology base. So that's why I keep emphasizing you got to take care of these things. All right, so that's everything that you have to do online. You will receive no results. You won't know where you stand. You'll just be in limbo until all these things are completed. And then what we're going to do here, the fun stuff, is 1, we're going to do stroke production. We're going to do that this afternoon. There's really not too much to review about that because we'll practice it when we're up there. We'll practice hitting it. So it's where you hit the ball into the ropes and with different spins. So that's a fun one. You get to hit balls. Very seldom, probably in your careers in life stage now, do you have someone feeding you neutral balls out of a basket that you get to hit. So it's like you're on the other side. So it's actually kind of fun. All right, and then you're going to do tomorrow, you're going to do the group lesson. And the private lesson. All right? And so we're going to talk in depth about these 2 things because this really is what we're about as teachers. We're either teaching groups, whether it's a group of 3 or a college coach when you have 20 people, or a high school coach like Ginger who has a no-cut program, has a large group, or private lesson. And that might be within college practice. You might take one on the side and do 10 minutes, that's private lesson. So everything falls in our teaching and coaching into group or private. So we're obviously going to talk extensively about this. This we're not going to talk so much about, but we're actually going to practice it and then do it today. And then we're going to talk briefly about this and pretty in depth about this. So these are the evaluated components from here down. Once you complete all of this stuff at a passing minimal threshold, then you'll get your result. Well, once you complete it, you'll get your results, and then you. So what do you take? What happens if I do this? I'm very diligent. I do this. And I pass this. I pass this. I pass this. Pass this. And when I, went to do my group lesson, I called someone a bad name, and the basket fell over, and I tripped, and just it was a disaster train wreck, and I didn't get a 60 or higher, 60% or higher. Then you would still get your results because you've completed everything. You would fall into this category because you didn't pass everything. Backing up the slides on my PowerPoint. You didn't pass everything, you'd fall into this category, recreational coach. You're still a member in good standing, and you're going to work at whatever area you didn't pass. You're going to train, you're going to get more experience, like Cedric said, I'm going to learn more, and then I'm going to retake it. And you'll see some tomorrow, there'll be people doing what's called an upgrade exam. They're coming to take it again. And you only have to take what you did, you don't have to do all of it again. You only have to take any component that you didn't meet the minimal threshold the first time. Is that clear about that? What questions do we have about this part? Yes?
Will we know how many people are in our group?
Absolutely. We're going to talk in depth about the group lesson. That's why you're here. You're going to no surprises. So the goal of today is that we talk about the parts that you get evaluated on, not so that Ginger and I and Hassan or anybody else can give you experience. That's impossible. And there's no substitute for experience. But so you have no surprises. So you know what's expected in our little world of certification. All right, and now hopefully, beyond that, is that we accomplish what is our number one thing in the association, which is right, yeah, learning. Hopefully we're gonna learn something together and have fun doing it. Because if you're not learning something and having fun, go be a civil, what was it, electrical engineer? What did you do for 3 days?
Finance.
No, finance. Go do finance. If you're not having fun and learning something on the tennis court, do something else. All right. Let's
That's
take it.
what's really positive is since it's been here, everything is really, it really is education based, and it's so nice because I've been a member since 1991, and when I first took this, I did not get the feedback that Sid's giving you. He's helping you succeed. It took me 5 tries to get to level 1 to be an elite pro because I was doing it on my own, trying to figure out what it was. And he'll help you through all of this. You have to do it, but he'll tell you what you need to do, so.
Thanks, Ginger.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick bathroom break, and then we'll come back and we'll start working on the review portion. Any questions so far? We did benefits. Well, first we got to know each other. Except Ginger, we didn't give her a 3-minute speech. When we come back, we'll do Ginger in front, and we'll throw questions at her.
Sure.
So we got to know each other. Then we did the benefits of the USPTA, kind of how it's structured and how it's organized, and then the certification process and what's expected of you for the process. And now we're going to get into the reviewing each component so that I can give you experience, impossible, so that you'll have no surprises. Right? So you'll know at least, oh yeah, I remember that we covered that. And then we'll be in here till about whenever we finish around lunch. We'll take a short lunch break, and then we'll meet on the tennis courts. And we'll do more, we're gonna discuss these things here, but then we're gonna go on the tennis courts and actually practice them. And that's really fun. We're gonna do peer-to-peer coaching. We're gonna pretend like you 3 are students and I'm the pro, and we're gonna go through the process so that you have no surprises. It'll be just like tomorrow when we actually have actual students. All right, I know you probably got a lot of stuff spinning in your head, no problem. Does everybody know where the nearest bathrooms are?